The topic of my presentation was our current study that we have been doing. For several years we have been observing that patients with insomnia, if we let them sleep in the sleep laboratory, they sleep much more than what would explain their complaints. They complain of hardly sleeping at all, or only a few hours per night. But if they sleep in the sleep lab, they usually sleep for only 30 minutes, so less than age-matched good sleepers, people who have no sleep complaints. And we wanted to find the reasons, because that's very interesting for us. Nobody has up to now really found differences in the PSG, in the polysomnogram, so our standard way of assessing sleep. Nobody has yet found a reason why these patients report having been awake, although using these gold standard methods of sleep assessment, they sleep for most of the night. And in order to assess this, to clarify that question, we performed a waking study. We awakened patients with insomnia and good sleeper controls in different phases of the night, in different phases of their sleep. In one night we awoke them from stage 2 sleep, and in the second night we awoke them from REM sleep. And what we found was that patients with insomnia report much more often than good sleepers that they had been awake actually when they were actually awoken from REM sleep. This was not the case. It was quite similar between good sleepers and patients with insomnia. When they were awoken from stage 2 sleep, so the rate of saying I was awake was about similar, but there was a big discrepancy when subjects were awoken from REM sleep. And moreover, patients with insomnia more often reported having negative emotions in their dream, if you want, the mentation, what was going on in their head before they heard the sound that awoke them. This mentation was much more negatively toned than in the patients with insomnia than in the good sleeper controls, and this negative emotion was highest in the latter part of the night. We awoke subjects at different periods in the night also, and these negative emotions in insomnia patients were highest in REM sleep, occurring in the at the end of the night. So what we are thinking is that we see a modified type of REM sleep, which is experienced by the patients, by the insomnia patients, as being awake, and it has these dreams which are experienced as wake-like, and we think it's like having actually a nightmare, a kind of nightmare, a very stressful dream that is about being awake, because the big problem that patients with insomnia have is they are worrying about lying awake in the night, and so in principle they dream about being awake in the night. And if you ask them in the next morning how long did you sleep, that's why they say I've been awake all night. We actually thought that REM sleep would be more vulnerable to sounds, so more easily interrupted by sounds. But we found that in principle we woke up people with sounds, and the sound loudness that we needed in order to wake the subjects up was identical between the patients with insomnia and a good sleeper control. So that was really surprising for us. We think that we now have a key to for better therapies. To at first psychological therapies, we want to integrate elements from nightmare therapy into the treatment of insomnia, psychological or CBTI treatment of insomnia. And there are other options that we investigate by strengthening REM sleep by medication, for example. That is in the project phase. We have a follow-up study running in the moment, where we more in detail look at brain reactions to tones, with the idea that there really we really could map the brain responsivity by using these, by looking at event-related potentials to these sounds, which we play in principle all night, and by doing that we can map all of the different sleep stages and see the brain reactions in all of these sleep stages. So we still have the hypothesis that processing of stimuli is modified and can at least be used to probe differences, neurophysiological differences in patients with insomnia.